Hey there everybody, my name's Dr. P and welcome back today for another Fortnite video. Now in this one guys, I want to update you on the recent happenings in the game. There have been some map changes that I definitely want to touch on and could very well relate to the storyline. In fact, I know they do. Make sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new guys. I'd really appreciate that. If you're ever buying any skins in the item shop, throw code Pineapplez on there. I'll love you a long time. Really appreciate all the support from the Fruit faction, and make sure to send me a screenshot over on Twitter if you want to be featured in the next video. So of course, you guys know all about those stone statues that have been moving and constantly changing over the course of this season, last season too, but especially season 8. When the volcano formed, it crushed both of those golems, the male and the female golem. They were almost completely disintegrated, but slowly and surely they started rebuilding themselves, and they just recently got completely remade a couple days ago, and now they are on the move. As you can see, here is the male golem. He's actually moved about 60 or 70 meters. In a second here, I actually put down a ping, a waypoint of where he originally was. He's moved actually a pretty good distance all the way up this hill. It looks to me like he's trying to get to the other side of the volcano to meet up with the other Gollum statue, which might be his wife, girlfriend, I don't know, but it looks like they're trying to get together and finally meet up because they haven't actually done so at all. Back in season 7, they were looking at each other and they were doing different poses, signaling like a warning or whatever, and then with season 8, of course, they were broken down, and then they started looking at each other across the volcano, but they couldn't even see each other. So now it looks like they're trying to meet up. Here is the female golem. You can see she's also moving. I put down the waypoint for her as well in a second. They've both moved about the same exact amount of space and covered about the same distance. These statues seem to be updated like every 2 or 3 days, if that were my guess, so it looks like maybe in about a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I don't know how long it's gonna take, but eventually it looks like they're going to meet up, and if I had to guess, there's probably gonna be something big that happens when they finally do collide. I don't know what that means. Maybe it's an event, maybe it's something else. It's really hard to tell, but I mean, these statues have been in the game for over a season now, an entire season, and they have constantly been signaling different things about what's going on, and now they're finally moving. Like, they are actually walking and moving, which is extremely interesting, of course, for a statue. Clearly, these aren't normal statues because they've constantly been changing their poses, and now they are moving. So, are they alive? I don't think so, but regardless, these are special statues. There is some magic power of some sort imbued in them. At least that's my takeaway. How else are they gonna move? I don't think anyone is moving them, and I don't think any outside force would play a factor. I mean, if you take a look back in the first bit of season 8 when these golem statues were basically ripped to shreds, it looked like they were trying to rebuild themselves, and then, of course, over time, they slowly started to stand back up. So yeah, I think it's fair to say there's some kind of magic power or special ability associated with these golems, and I'm sure we'll find out more very soon. I'm looking forward to when they meet up and finally get together. Now let's talk about the helicopter. I'm sure you're aware of what's going on with that helicopter. It's been moving around the map. It's moved several times, and today it moved again. It moved a little south to another hill in the desert area near Paradise Palms. Based on everywhere it's been, including this spot right now, it is only going on the edge of the map, and the telescope out the side has been constantly pointing in the same direction. Of course, I said this in my last video, or a couple videos ago, but it does look like the telescope is looking directly at Snobby Shores, and if you take a look at the reflection in the telescope itself, that is affirmed and backed up. You can clearly tell that is Snobby Shores that it is looking at. Here is a map courtesy of user CWAD on Reddit, which basically shows a very accurate and detailed description of where the helicopter has been. You can see the path is along the edge of the map, and I totally expect that to continue. Maybe next time it'll go somewhere near Lucky, and then maybe somewhere near Happy Hamlet, Frosty Flights, just kind of on the border of the map. That's what the trend has been. I will be extremely curious to see what happens when it actually gets to Snobby itself, because, as you know, Snobby is actually on the edge of the map on the western side. And if the telescope is always pointed towards the middle of the island, then I don't exactly know what they'd be looking at if they went to Snobby. So that is definitely something I will be extremely curious to see. Maybe it will deviate from its path and just keep its telescope on Snobby. Maybe it'll do a little loop around and just not go there. I don't know, but that's something I'm really excited to find out. So now I guess we should ask the question, why are they so interested in Snobby Shores, or at least in that area around there with the Viking village? The honest answer to that question, at least as it stands right now, is we don't know, but it does look like Snobby is going to be some kind of focal point for coming up later in this season. I mean, think about it. If they're doing this whole thing where they're having this helicopter go around the map, it's probably still going to go around the map for another couple weeks, and they make it pretty plain and obvious what they're looking at through the reflection in the telescope and just the general direction it's pointing, I feel like that means something. I think it's fair to point out also that this season, Snobby was updated ever so slightly. The most southern house in Snobby was transformed into like a Viking base, which of course you guys know there's a Viking mountain right beside Snobby, so maybe they just dropped down to Snobby and took over a house. I'm not exactly sure why, but I feel like it definitely has something to do with why the government or whoever it is spying on the island, specifically Snobby Shores. Snobby has been an area that, at least personally, I have never really been to, maybe like twice out of choice, and the other times were due to challenges or something else I was doing, just that didn't have anything to do with me just choosing to land there. So I'm glad to see that it's getting some attention. It was slightly updated this season, but then again, not a big one, only one house. The area as a whole, I would say, is pretty much dead. Like, there's not that many people that go to Snobby, sometimes almost none. I will say, I went to Snobby in yesterday's stream for the first time that I can remember in a while, and there was no one there. It was absolutely dead. Speaking of my stream, you should definitely go and follow me over on Caffeine. I'm streaming a couple times a week. We have a great time over there, and I always love to interact with you guys. Of course, I'll leave the link below. But yeah, going back to Snobby, I'm really excited to see the extreme possibility of a revamp in that area. I think it's an area that needs some juice, that needs some extra pop and pizzazz to kind of spread people out. I mean, you never want to have a place in the game that is rarely visited. That would be the goal, right? Like, obviously you can't realistically have that happen because no one is landing Junction. No one wants to. But if they were to add something else in place of Junction, and it was good, maybe people would go there more. That's what I'm saying, and that's what I'm really excited about with Snobby. If it were to get completely removed and replaced with something else that was cooler, with more loot, I would be all for that. And at least in my mind, that's a possibility, simply based on the fact that this helicopter seems to be constantly pointing at that direction, and if we know anything about Epic Games, they love to tease map changes. I saw something really interesting on Reddit by user Kukuladay, and basically it involves a cave, a temple that is near Sunny Steps. Apparently there's a theory that has been going around for a while that this cave would go deeper, that you would be able to go deep inside this cave, and there would be some kind of hidden secrets there. Well, inside of the week 3 loading screen, you can see, of course, Sidewinder running through a tunnel, getting poison darts shot at her, which, of course, is from the upcoming trap. If you look closely at this loading screen, you can see in the back the temple door has been raised for people to allow entry. Of course, you can see the arrow is pointing right there for you. So it does look like there's going to be some temple you can run through that would be exciting. What do you guys think could be inside this temple? If it opens up, if we can get inside, and there is a long labyrinth of just random stuff to go through and see, what could be in there? If I had to guess, most likely something like maybe the dragon. I don't even know. I'm just saying stuff right now. But clearly, this has potential to be very groundbreaking for the storyline and for everything involved this season. This might be a bit of a stretch, but I'm gonna say it anyway. This temple is within very close proximity of that bunker that was in Wailing Woods that was left behind even after the volcano came to be. So maybe there's a chance we could go inside this cave and it could finally take us underneath the bunker and we could figure out what's going on there. I want to hear from you. Make sure to leave your thoughts on anything you have to say about this video in the comment section down below. I read every comment and I try my best to respond and just in general interact with you guys as much as I can, because truly it's one of the best things about being a YouTuber. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.